you ever heard of metaphysics? Do you know what it is? And perhaps it's not as woo-woo as you might think. So let's talk about that. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Reverend Sharon Renae, and welcome to this week's Sunday Inspiration presented by Spiritually Centered. And today we're going to talk about metaphysics and what does that actually mean. And we have a tendency a lot of times to think that it's definitely new age, it's new thought, it's woo-woo, it might be cultish, right? We don't always know what that means other than it's not in the religious perspective. Well, metaphysics is a little bit more than religion from my perspective, because metaphysics is about not being in the outer world, but going into the inner world. And so here's the thing. So in the Bible, the Old Testament is all about the older world. It's all about the outer world and how to navigate the outer world. And even in the Old Testament, God is outside of us. There's a separation in that. When you get to the New Testament, and in Unity, we talk about that we focus on the metaphysical teachings of Jesus. All right. So when you get to the New Testament, Jesus is all about going inside, that the kingdom of heaven is within, that to keep going inside and to love your Father, the God, to love the divine, to love yourself, and to love your neighbor with all your heart. It's about the love, and it's about moving it forward. And metaphysics is going beyond the physical world, but going into the inner world, but really looking at how energy works, how vibration works, how our thoughts work and create and structure our reality. So in the outer world, or I'm going to say, so when we live in the Old Testament version, things happen to us. We are victims of those circumstances. In the New Testament, in the metaphysical world, we are empowered to know that we are co-creators of the divine, that we have this ability to create and to manifest, and that our thoughts create our reality. And metaphysics lines up with science, it lines up with our awareness, and it can take us further, that it takes us from being a victim and being brought up or living in a state of constant fear that if we don't behave we're going to be punished, that we know that if we make a choice that's wrong, we are going to suffer the consequences. And if we make a choice that's good and right, we are going to enjoy the consequences of that, because everything has a consequence. It can be good or it can be negative, but it's based on that energy. But what metaphysics does is it empowers us. It takes us from being a victim and being helpless and being under this perception of a God that wields its power with anger and not just love. That it gives us this opportunity to know that we are loved, that we are powerful, that we have this wonderful ability to be a co-creator with our life, to move our life forward into a direction. It opens the door up for faith in a different way. The faith of trusting and hearing that inner voice, hearing that inner guidance, and being able to act on it instead of hearing it but being told we can't because God has deemed it that only someone else can do it, that you can't. So it puts, I don't even know how to say it, it puts us in alignment with our divinity, where in another way, it is outside of us, that we don't have any control over it. And so when people leave traditional religion and they're looking at the metaphysical standpoint, there's a freedom that's given. There's an opportunity to say, oh, okay, if I am a creator of my world, or that I am responsible for where I am at now, then if I can be this unhappy, think of what I can do if I want to be happy. Think of the opportunity that I have if I can create happiness too in my life, that I can be what that desire is. It opens the door to listen to the intuition. It opens the door to move forward and to be that co-creator, to be in alignment with that energy that we affirm or call God, that runs through this continuum of life and space. So it moves us forward over and over again. But there's a freedom of knowing that we have choice, that we have, I'm trying to find the right words, but we have, I'm going to use the word control of our destiny, that we get to at least participate in that destiny, in the direction of where things are going. And we do it in this great love. This teaches us over and over again to love ourselves, to love our neighbors, to practice forgiveness, and not doing it because when we die we either go to heaven or hell. It's because we do it because we continue to love to see how this energy and how this practice brings more and more good into our lives, and how we grow and how we extend and how we expand. So metaphysics is not woo-woo, right? It's not cultish. It is taking the teachings of Jesus, of Buddha, and following that inner calling, that inner direction, that inner truth, the kingdom from within, and aligning it into the physical world so that we can not just be of the world or in the world, but of it, and moving that wonderful energy as it goes, as it moves. And I hope that this gives you a better understanding of what metaphysics is, because metaphysics gives you the opportunity to be empowered, gives you the opportunity to know that you have choice, gives you the opportunity to know that you are not a victim of circumstance, and that you have the power to live a life filled with joy, health, abundance, and happiness. So until next time, namaste.